Hi, I'm Dustin Hirsch with the Grasshopper Company, and I'm here today to demonstrate leveling a mowing deck on our SO37 stand-up mower. On this particular SO37, the cutting width of this deck is a 61-inch deck. We have both the 61-inch deck and also a 72-inch deck. No matter which deck width it is, the adjustment procedure is exactly the same. The deck is suspended by 4 points, and all 4 points have adjustability to them. A few key things to make sure of before you do any type of adjustment is making sure priority number one is that the tires themselves are of the proper air pressure. On our stand-up mowers, we use 13-inch pneumatic tires. We want to make sure the tire pressure obviously is correct from one side to the other. With our 13-inch pneumatics, we recommend between 12 and 15 pounds. Make sure both of them are of the same value. At the rear, where your drive tires are at, we also give a recommended tire pressure. Typically, there's going to be a decal next to the valve stem that's going to give you the proper PSI of the tire. Again, like I mentioned, making sure both are of the same air pressure. Once you've got the tires pressures correct and the way you want them, the other thing to make sure of is that on the surface that you're measuring off of, make sure it's a hard surface, a hard level surface. Obviously, don't be doing it out in the gravel or out in the yard anywhere. Once you have those two things dialed in, now we're able to make adjustments to the deck. On our stand-up mowers, there's 4 points of adjustment for the deck to be made. The first thing that you're going to want to attack is your side-to-side adjustment. My recommendation would be to go ahead and just start on the left-hand side and just measure from the ground to the top of the deck shell, get a point of reference on this side, and then we'll go over to the opposite side and do a comparison. When you're making that comparison, the reason why I like to start on the left-hand side is I can come over here on the right side, remove any type of shielding that you may have, and now we can go ahead and do the same type of measurement and then get a comparison and see if there's a difference. Other things to make sure of too is the mowing blades, making sure that the blades aren't bent. You can kind of swing around, look at the quality of the blade. You know, obviously this is a new one, so we know it's good and straight. But don't ever discount that you got a bent blade as well. If that's the case, obviously we're going to replace those blades. Also double check our measurements. And that's another key reason why I just take a tape measure and measure from the ground up to the top of the deck shell, is because the blades themselves, as long as they're straight, are going to be parallel with the top plate of the deck itself. So that's another way to just quickly do a measurement. Other thing to note in regards to this is on the mowing height of the deck, you've got a full range of high to low. I typically like to put it somewhere in the middle. On our stand-on units, we got this locking pin that you can go up against. So here again, we're at that 3.5 cut. And if you change this, obviously you're going to have to remeasure in regards to your cut height. If you do that, again, you'll still come over here on your right-hand side and figure out what the difference is. Once you figure out what the difference is, the way we're going to change and then make that side-to-side adjustment is actually going to be on the right or left rear of the deck. On our stand-on units, all 4 points of suspension have adjustability. When we're doing side-to-side adjustment, you're going to make that adjustment on the rear adjusters. Doesn't matter which side, pick a side and adjust accordingly. The way we'll make this adjustment is we're going to have to get a few wrenches out because we will need to loosen these two bolts. Basically, it's a 5/8 wrench on the outside and 11/16 on the inside. You'll crack it loose. What that's going to do is going to allow then this bolt and bracket to kind of move up and down as we make the actual adjustment on this adjusting bolt that you see here. And as you can kind of see, there's a jam nut that we will have to go in there and loosen. We'll loosen that jam nut, and then we can run the bolt in or out to raise or lower the deck. Once you make some adjustments, you'll come back and double check to see if you've got your measurement back in place. If you hit your mark, we can go ahead and go in there and retighten everything securely on your adjusting jam nut, and then also making sure you tighten this bolt as well. So that part is all you do for your side-to-side adjustment. On the left-hand side, you have the same type of adjustment that I just showed you. Doesn't matter, just pick a side that you want to make the adjustment on for your side-to-side. Just know that it's going to be the rear adjusters for your side-to-side. Once the deck's now adjusted properly from side to side, there's one more adjustment that we need to make sure of, and that's the pitch of the deck. And what I mean by that is we always want the front leading edge of the deck to be lower than the back. Typically, we'll recommend somewhere between an 1/8 to a 1/4 inch pitch lower in the front than the back. Same thing applies on how the functionality of the adjustment goes. Now we're going to do that front to back pitch on the front suspension adjusters. You'll have one here on the left-hand side, as you can see. Here's where you can kind of also dial it in for your front to back. Again, we'll take a tape measure, and instead of measuring in the middle, we'll go ahead and measure at the front corner of the deck. Get your point of reference that you see here, and then we'll go to the back of the deck and then see what we have there. If we need to make any type of adjustment for your front to back pitch, that's all going to be on the front of these adjusters here. With this type of setup on our stand-on units, you may have to go and make that adjustment of pitch from front to back on both sides. Go ahead and start on your left side and then come over here, and you can do the same check on your right-hand side, measure the front, and then compare it to the back. If you need to make adjustment, you can do it right here with this adjusting bolt. Once you've kind of double checked all your measurements and levelness and pitch of the deck, go ahead and take it out for a couple of test mows and just see what it all looks like. It should be pretty well dialed in. You'll be good to go.
Did you like this video? Then click this video here. And don't forget to like and subscribe.